This Shabbos is the Shabbos of the Seder of Vayishlach, and this we read in the Torah, in the Seder of Vayishlach, which is in Bereshis in Genesis, from chapter 32, sentence 4, to the end of chapter 36. My dear friends, in essence, the Seder here has many, many points of interest that are applicable to the present day. Yankov, after leaving Lavan, as we read in the previous Seder of Vayetze, he was met by a group of angels to escort him. And in this week's Seder, the Torah continues with the story of how Yaakov used these angels as his emissaries with a gift to his brother Esav and a message of peace. It is very noteworthy to watch how Yaakov forewarns every eventuality in this meeting so that it ends in peace. And it is very interesting also to note that the Torah here says amongst the words that Yaakov sent to appease his brother Esav, and I quote, Im Lavan garti, with Lavan I lived as an alien, vo'echar ad ota, and I was detained unto the present. And therefore it was not possible for me to be able to meet with you earlier. And Rashi brings in the name of our sages, Im Lavan garti, the word garti has the numerical sum of Taryag, 613, which means, Im Lavan garti, with Lavan I was an alien, but v'Taryag mitzvah shamarti, I observed the 613 mitzvahs. Of what interest is this to Esav to learn that Yaakov observed Taryag mitzvahs, or he did not observe the 613 mitzvahs? And my dear friends, the Torah here wishes to impress upon us the message that Yaakov has given to Lavan, and that is to say, although I lived with Lavan for 20 years, he never accepted me as his own. He always regarded me as being one who stood outside his family. I was to him an alien. But to be an alien for no reason whatsoever, this is not my life. If I remained an alien, it was only because I wished to observe my ideals, the ideals of Torah. Im Lavan garti. Garti means I was nothing more but a sojourner, but a traveler in his eyes. He never accepted me as one of his family. And the Chazal tell us, do you know why this was? V'Taryag mitzvah shamarti. If I observed the 613 mitzvahs, and because of this I was not accepted, this is to me the greatest pride that can be. And this is the strength of the Jew. He may be regarded as an outsider. He may be regarded as one who cannot live the life of the present, and yet he goes forward unflinchingly, because he knows that the reason that he does not become one of the people of the world is because he lives in a higher ideal. He has 613 mitzvahs to carry out, and this is a message that he gives to Lavan. Lavan, do not say because the Jews are outcasts in the eyes of many groups and classes. They have certain areas that are segregated as far as Jews are concerned. Jews are not accepted, and the Jew seems to think maybe it is because of a fault that I have. And Yaakov says to Esav, this is not so. The reason that I remain outside the realm of the family of Esav, of Lavan, is only because Taryag mitzvah shamarti, the ideal of the Torah and mitzvahs, stands higher in my life than anything else. And my dear friends, this is what the Jew says to the entire world. It may be that in the family of nations, the Jew is not to be accepted as one of them, but if it is so, it is only to our pride and glory, because it means that we have united ourselves with a dictate of existence that is higher than that of man-made law. They are the 613 commandments of Almighty God. We learn a very profound lesson in peacemaking from the words and acts of Yaakov that are applicable even today as well. We become amazed with the true psychology that is applied by Yaakov in his relationship with Esau, who is directly opposed to Yaakov's way of life and his philosophy. We participate in every step that leads to and includes the final meeting of two opposite worlds and the final termination in a true fusion of brotherly love and interest when Yaakov and Esau are united together even for a short while. We read of how Yaakov wrestles with the Sar Shel Esau, with the ministering angel of Esau, as he reveals himself in a flesh and blood image, and how Yaakov is victorious in subordinating him to his way of life, to Yaakov's way of life. Although suffering thereby a temporary limp imposed by the Sar Shel Esau, Yaakov continues on his way. And then as we read in the Sedra, we find that Yaakov arrives in Shechem, and here his daughter Dinah is unjustly molested by Shechem, the son of Hamor, and how Shimon and Levi destroy the city of Shechem and its inhabitants to teach the world that a Jewish daughter, particularly their sister Dinah, is not unprotected. As Yaakov journeys on his way after he leaves Beis El, the place that he named House of God because of divine relation to him, in changing his name from Yaakov to Yisroel, we find that Rachel, his wife, develops complications in childbirth, and before she departs from the world, she names her son Binyamin. Rochel expires and is interred on the way to Beis Lochem. We also learn of how Yankov finally reaches his father Yitzchak in Hebron, where he spends years with him until Yitzchak departs from the world at the age of 180 years. It is noteworthy that the Torah also mentions that both Yaakov and his brother Esau participate in the burial of their father Yitzchak, which again for a short time unites them. The Torah reaches the end of the Sedra with a detailed story of Esau and his wives and children, and their part in the story of world civilization and its leadership. My dear friends, the coming Thursday night, we shall light the first Chanukah Licht, and I believe that each and every one will observe this mitzvah because it has become very popular, and there is no reason why in every Jewish home there should not be lit the Chanukah lamp with the brochas, the blessings that you will find in each and every prayer book or in each and every Chanukah manual. There is a message of Chanukah that I would like to convey to you that comes from the great Rabbi of Lubavitcher, and he says, and I quote, "The idol-worshipping Greek rulers of the Holy Land, in collaboration with some Jewish sympathizers called Hellenists because they acclaimed and emulated Greek culture, entered the Heichal, the inner sanctum of the Beis HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, and defiled all the oils. When the Hasmoneans defeated them, one cruse of oil was found, which evidently had not been touched by the Greeks. It contained enough oil only for 1 day. The menorah was rekindled, and the oil miraculously lasted for 8 days, until new oil could be prepared. Chanukah celebrates the miraculous victory over the Greeks, which culminated in the cleansing and rededication of the Beis HaMikdash. The Hasmoneans, who brought about the miracle of Chanukah by their resistance against overwhelming odds, had a secret weapon, and this was Mesiras Nefesh, or self-sacrifice. The purpose of all our festivals is to take the lessons of the ancient events which the festival commemorates and apply those lessons to the present day, to the daily Jewish life of the Jewish individual and also the Jewish community. When we apply the lessons of the ancient Chanukah miracle to the present day, several points stand out in bold relief. First, we see that even so holy a place as the Beis Hamikdash can be made impure under certain circumstances, though outwardly remaining intact. Second, in such a case, cleansing and rededication of the sanctuary can be achieved only through Mesiras Nefesh, a self-sacrificing determination to resist the forces of darkness without entering into any calculations whatsoever as to what the odds are in the struggle. For since there can be no compromise with an enemy bent on defiling that which is sacred in Jewish life, the only Jewish answer can be unconditional resistance, leaving the final outcome of the struggle to the divine will. However, it is a perennial lesson of our history that when we possess the secret weapon of the Mesiras Nefesh attitude, the outcome of the battle is never really in doubt. The ancient events of Chanukah emphasize yet another fact of life for the Jew, namely that in Jewish life, material welfare is always linked to spiritual well-being. Thus, in the case of Chanukah, although the Greek persecution started with a spiritual assault, with an attempt, as we say, lihashkicham torasecha, uleha'aviram al chukei ritzonecha, which means to make the Jews forget thy Torah, the Torah of God, and to cause them to transgress the statutes of thy divine will, it was soon followed by a policy of robbing the Jews of their material wealth also, and robbing them of their children. The same link of physical and spiritual welfare was again evident in the deliverance of the Jews, when under the leadership of the handful of the Hashmoneans, the Jews resisted assimilation. With steadfast faith, God helped them to completely be rid of the enemy, thereby saving not only their souls, but also their wealth and children. Nowadays, as often before, Jews who want to remain loyal to the heritage of their fathers find themselves outnumbered and endangered by the forces of darkness, threatening to engulf the world in general and the Jewish world in particular. And therefore, these sanctuaries, the sanctuaries of Torah, the sanctuaries of yeshivas, are also not immune from defilement, and it requires the same kind of Hasmonean determination to preserve their purity and holiness. But although the odds may seem overwhelmingly unfavorable, the worth for resistance is more than worth the effort, for with God's help, the outcome of the battle is certain to be miraculous, the victory is certain to be complete, spiritually and materially, just as it was in the days of Chanukah. These are the words of the great Lubavitcher Rebbe.